welcome. So I'm opening the Lorcana today because I need a little Disney after yesterday. Now, I guess it's interesting that also I got some jasmine, or not jasmine, some rosemary water yesterday. And I am so glad because I was out of rice water. It was a struggle. And I used it, I was like, oh my gosh, my hair. It feels so much nicer when it's not so dry. Anyway, so I guess it's interesting. It was maybe a week or two ago. I had a thought. I was like, you know what? I'm in my, I don't mind if someone calls me a villain era because there are certain things that just like, certain things in the world that just need to like change. And there are certain things that need to be said if it helps those certain things in the world change. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't mind. Even though I guess I've had spicy eras, but the only reason why I say that is because now I'm looking at the after last night, I'm like that was two almost back to back. Like I'll do them, but I don't necessarily like them. You know what I mean? And I was like, I want something light and like something fun. And I was like, oh, I should have did the Disney Lorcana, but Jafar, who was the villain, is on the cover. And then that's when I was like, oh, I guess I did say I was in my I don't mind being the villain era. Or I don't mind being called the villain era. Oof. But anyway, I had a dream last night, like a dream that I just woke up from. And I was going to come on and talk about it, but I journaled it instead because I need to get back into doing that. And I thought in the dream I was in Spanish class, but I guess I should have known. I thought I was in Spanish class because there was a word written on the board and there was like a teacher. And he was like, which letter does not belong? And I said, I. And the letter that didn't belong was correct. But I thought that the root word was a different word because I thought it was Spanish. But then he wrote another word on the board. And in my brain, I'm like, how do you get from this word to that word? Like, where? It didn't make sense. And then it ended up being a bowling metaphor for something that, like, that's not even how bowling works. And then when he was describing it to us, it's almost like he was using the word to describe the word. Um, it's almost like he was using the word to describe the word. And we were in the class, we were like kind of confused. And then it got like scientific. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is that even how this works? And then he was like, imagine trying to explain to somebody a word and they have no context of like even the language. But then after I woke up and I looked up the words that he wrote on the board, they weren't Spanish, they were actually Filipino, which is interesting because I don't know anything about Filipino anything. And I guess what's also interesting is that it brings a certain saying to mind. And I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. But the other part, and then it was like um, electric currents or something. I'm like, wait. But I made the right guess. I made the right guess for what I thought. I made the right guess for the wrong reason. I made the right guess with the wrong reasoning. I like that better. I made the right guess with the wrong reasoning. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. Interesting. Cool. And maybe I'm being more cryptic than I need to be, but it's fine because the specifics don't matter. It was just like, it was such an interesting dream because I really thought it was Spanish. And I'm like, okay. But then when he like showed me, I was like, hold up. Was it conjugated? Yeah, I've conjugated some verbs in Spanish. I don't think this is how this worked. And it wasn't. It was a completely different stem. It was a completely different word. And I'm like, what? And I type it in Google Translate, and Google Translate is like, did you mean Filipino? And I'm like, well, it ain't giving me nothing in Spanish, so sure. And lo and behold, both words were actually words in Filipino. And I was like, oh. So I'm opening up the Disney Lorcana. We're going to do that thing that I do, that I love to do, where I get a random pack of cards or whatever, and we try to find the sense in it. Oh, okay. So we go from Jafar to Piglet. Piglet, Piglet. Excuse me. He's got Piglet on it. With his sword and his eye patch and his hat. I guess this is Pirate Piglet who's setting out on some kind of adventure. Into the Inklings. This one also has 12 cards. Now, this is the first pack of Disney Lorcana that I've ever purchased, ever received, or that I'm ever opening. I know some of Disney, but I feel like there's a whole bunch of Disney that I just don't know. And I'm like trying to open these. I need to cut my nails because they've been getting, there we go, how long? I mean, they've been kind of long for a while now. Okay. I think I'm going to pull these from the bottom. Here's the card backs. Looks very mystical. Some locations, so this is abilities. Some locations have abilities that give you benefits, often based on characters being at the location. These abilities can be used the same turn the location comes into play. This is interesting. Just because it makes me think of the call. The way. It makes me think of way, the phone greeting. It's to acknowledge the call and to communicate that you're ready to begin the conversation or something like that. But it was that like acknowledging the call part of how way became a phone greeting. When it says that these abilities that the locations give are often based on characters being at the location. And as soon as the characters reach those locations, they can use the abilities. So the new rule is moving damage. I like I said, I know nothing about nothing when it comes to Disney Lorcana. What is a location? Moving. What do you mean? Damage. Okay, I'm assuming because it's a card game. But as far as like any specifics beyond that, I might need to get my keyboard because we may be needing it. And it's quicker to type. So, also new in Into the Inklings is the ability to move damage counters from one character or location to another. Moving damage doesn't count as dealing damage or damaging the character or location receiving the damage counters. Effects that modify the amount of damage dealt don't apply to damage being moved. Wow. This is almost like, what's the game? Is that like Sticks or something where you got like two and you can do the one and you try to bust people? I can't remember if they have to hit five exactly or if they get over five and then they like get out or something. Like five fingers on a hand. So you start with, like, if the other person has one and you hit their one, they get two. Or if they have two and you hit their two, they get four. But in order to keep yourself from like busting, you can split it between your two hands. So you can have 2 and 2, or 3 and 1, or 4 and 0, or 4 and 0, or 2 and 2. It's like that. How you can like split it, which is interesting because that was part of the dream. Kind of, sort of, not really. I mean, it was, but anyway. Cool. Oh, so this is like a rules card. Instead of a title card, it's a rules card. What I like about the rules card is it feels like it directly almost negates the bad luck in the I Ching from the day before yesterday. Where if one was wearing the ancient device that like covered someone's ears, it's bad luck because it was an energy that it's like, if you can't hear what you're being charged with, if you can't hear the rules, if you can't hear what's going on, then it's bad luck because you don't know what to do. But the very first card we're looking at, it's explaining some things to us, which I love. So, gaining lore. At the start of your turn, gain lore equal to the lore value on the locations you have in play. Note that this is not questing, which only characters can do. So locations are giving me land energy, right? Because you gain lore equal to the lore value based on the locations, like how the mana, how I was talking about that yesterday in Magic the Gathering. Like, let's just, get a land card. First land card we see. Okay, well, that doesn't help. First land card we see is this island. Like that. How like every turn this I guess you don't accrue it, you just have it to use in that turn. Like it doesn't roll over, but the land remains on the table. Like this island generates water mana. 1 water mana every turn. Cool. Moving characters to locations. So during your turn, you can move one of your characters to one of your locations by paying the location's move cost. Your characters can only move to your locations. A character can move to a location the same turn either one is played. It doesn't matter if the character being moved is exerted or ready. There's no limit to the number of characters who can be at a location at a time. A character can't move from a location except to move to another location. You can do this by paying the other location's move costs. So there's the lore value that they generate at the start of the turn. There's the location cost to move a character there. And then challenges and damage. Opposing characters may challenge a location the same way they challenge an exerted character. The challenger ability still applies. A challenged location takes damage equal to the challenging character's strength, but doesn't deal damage. Locations can also take damage from some actions and abilities, but they can't be chosen for them unless the text says they can. When a location's damage reaches its willpower, it's banished and you put that card in your discard pile. Characters at that location are fine, they're just no longer at a location. And then on the back is the abilities. Some locations have abilities, and then the moving damage. Wow, locations have a lot of like It's a lot more than just getting lore. Cool. So now we know some of the basic rules, and they can be attacked. May challenge a location the same way they challenge an exerted character. It can't defend itself, but you can move the damage from the location to a character. I'm drinking orange juice today because it's early and I literally just woke up and I thought I was going to come on here and talk about that dream, but it's fine. So now, is this our location card? No, I think this is more rules. So I see two. First, it was 2B, which is a character in Nier Automata, which is hilarious, I guess. Then we have 2A. Now we have 1B. So parts of a location card. We have the ink cost, the move cost, which is the cost for a character to move there, the willpower, which is the health of that location, the ability if it has one, and then the lore value that it generates. If a location has the inkwell icon around the cost, it can be put into your inkwell. The rules for playing locations are the same as for characters and items. You can play a location anytime during your turn by paying its ink cost and putting it into play in front of you. Now, it's interesting that the location on this card is Motunui, which is an island paradise, and it has the reincarnation ability. Whenever a character is banished while here, you may put that card into your inkwell face down and exerted. Like, that's the ability on the card. Just like reincarnation. Oh, look, it focused. Oh my gosh. Motunui. And then you can see all the parts that I can see. New card type locations. Oh, so Into the Inklands brings locations. So maybe that's why, I don't know, it brings locations and it brings moving damage. It allows you to move damage and it brings location. When I first read moving damage, I thought it was like damage that a character or a character would take while moving. Like, there's a few video games where it's like if you move, you take damage. I think like Bleed and Monster Hunter is kind of like that. As long as you're not moving, then you don't take damage. But if you do move, then you do. New in Into the Inklands, locations are glimmers that are played and go on the table in front of you. Glimmers. I just saw that I saw it on Facebook a while ago. And then I saw it on Facebook again. The post about how a glimmer is like the opposite of a trigger. So like if something glimmers you, then it makes you happy instead of it doing whatever triggers do. To shine faintly or unsteadily, twinkle, shimmer, or flicker, to appear faintly or dimly. But where's the one that's like not? To shine without strength or not continuously. Here we go. Glimmers are the opposite of triggers. I'm gonna subscribe, please. I'm still on my desktop. The internet's been holding out. It hasn't cut out on me yet, which I'm grateful for. If it does, then I guess we'll see. Glimmers are small moments that spark joy or peace, which can help cue our nervous system to feel safe or calm. Experts say this mindset shift can make a positive impact on our mental health. So there you go. Small moments that spark joy or peace, which can help cue our nervous system to feel safe or calm.
There you go. That's a glimmer. New and into the Inklands locations are glimmers that are played and go on the table in front of you, just like characters and items. Only special location rules are explained here. Some locations give you a benefit, some give you lore, and some do both. And of course, other cards have abilities that involve this new card type. This new card type is interesting. It says other characters have abilities that involve this new card type, but I'm assuming it would only be characters that are released at this point or after. I'm assuming that there isn't a way that the manufacturer of Glimmer Arcana can magically rewrite all of the cards that have already been distributed to include effects for these new additions to the game. So it's almost like a from this moment forward, which feels like to play against an opponent that is only using cards from before this expansion could put them at a disadvantage. But it's making me think of Yu-Gi-Oh! And how they have so many different like summoning mechanisms, like pendulum summoning, synchro summoning. All I don't even know. I only know about it. Well, I had when I was in RA, some of my residents played Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're talking about like synchro summon, pendulum summon. I'm like, what? And then Yu-Gi-Oh! One of the seasons came on where they're like parallel versions of like different Yu-Gi characters throughout the different series. And in their different universes, they all have that special summoning, whatever. And because they all have something different, it isn't necessarily unbalanced, right? They all have a special way to summon characters. So in that case, then like maybe you'd be playing against an opponent that has their own, I don't want to say gimmick, their own new glimmer. There you go. Just like game wise. So we got some of the rules out of the way, so I understand a little bit. Thank you for whoever packed the cards in the way that they packed them so that I saw these first and not last. And now I'm looking at card backs, like how I like to usually do this, and I'm going to flip them over one by one. So the very first card is Pluto. Aww. Is this a holographic Pluto? It is. The first card is holographic Pluto. Can you see that? Pluto is in Aquarius. Pluto is your friend. So let's see. Let me check the rules. I think this has an ink well value of 1. The symbols look kind of the same, even though they're different. An ink cost, is that what that is? An ink cost of 1. It has a move cost of 2. No, that's willpower. Willpower of 2. Is that a strength of 1? I don't even know what an inkwell is. So the lore, the ink cost and the lore, I'm assuming is the same. Girl, I feel like I really should have maybe did research. It's fine. You play 1 less ink cost for the next character you play this turn. That's Pluto's ability, his good dog ability. He's a storyborn ally. Pluto, the friendly pooch. He just can't wait for new friends to arrive, is his flavor text. I kind of like this. It's almost like it's Pluto's enthusiasm for a new friend to arrive that allows, it reduces the cost to summon to play another character. It makes it easier. And obviously, I'm reading cards, playing cards, so I can take Pluto to be Pluto, the friendly pooch, Mickey's dog, to be like Pluto, the planet. Now, Pluto just had conjunctions with Mars and Venus. I don't have my iPad, and I don't think it's charged. I think the moon might be in Aquarius. I'll have my computer. I have to go to astro.com. But there's something about like something about excuse me. There's something about making things easier. Making it easier for something else to happen. Here we go. The moon is in Sagittarius. The sun, oh wow, we got a sun moon trine right now. Sun at 10 degrees, moon at 11 degrees. Mars in Pisces. Where's Aquarius? Who's in Aquarius? That's what I want to know. Nobody. Pluto is alone in Aquarius. The moon is going to be the next visitor. Like everything is Aries, Pisces, Taurus. Literally. Sun, Mercury, Aries, Venus, Mars, Pisces, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces, Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus with Pluto in Aquarius. All of those signs are past Aquarius. So besides the moon, the next thing in Aquarius is probably going to be who like this. It'll be the moon. It'll be the moon, the moon, the moon, the moon. Maybe that's why Pluto is so friendly. Because the moon is going to be the only planet or the only body that Pluto is going to see for like going to conjunct for a hot minute. Now, Venus is behind the sun right now, but it could move. It could overtake the sun. The inner planets are our faster planets. So there's nothing going to be in Aquarius until Aquarius season, until the sun and Mercury go into Aquarius. Wow, Pluto's going to be all alone. Okay. Oof. And then, of course, it would be a dog. You know, the dog that just like waits and waits and waits. I wonder what a dog's concept of time is. Almost like, because it seems like, you know, if you're gone for a few hours, depending on the dog, they might seem like be as excited as if you were gone like for some time. And if you're gone for a really long time, then they get like, you know, really excited. But I almost wonder if it's like the concept of time almost plateaus at a certain point. I guess it wouldn't necessarily have to. Because then it makes me think of like Hachiko and other dogs who just like wait years and years and years for their masters for their humans to come back, to come home. He just can't wait for new friends to arrive. Oof. The next card is Ursula. Ursula has I think this is what the attack value of 2. and a toughness of 3. It's interesting that the attack value is like this little sun icon. Oof. Ursula, deceiver of all. She's a storyborn villain and sorcerer. She costs 3. She has an ink cost of 3, and she has an equal icon. Oh, there she is. So because she has that equal icon around her cost, it can be put into the inkwell. What does the Lorcana inkwell do? I don't know, because I don't know the rules. Ursula, deceiver of all. What a deal. Whenever this character sings a song, you may play that song again from your discard for free, then put it on the bottom of your deck. So is this like copies of the same song? Girl, like I said, I don't know. Maybe I should stick to the rivers that I'm used to. I'm trying to sing the song in my head, and I don't really know all the words. All I know is "Don't go chasing waterfalls." I don't want much, just the most powerful lore. That's her flavor text. Whenever this character sings a song, you may play that song again from your discard for free, then put it in the bottom of your deck. This Ursula Deceiver of all is almost giving me a trigger energy. Or it's giving the energy of memory, which is, I guess, still a trigger. Like to be able to play a discarded song for free it's almost like the weight that music can carry because of the associations that we have with them. So like if there was a song that got us through a particularly rough, or an album or a genre or whatever, but I'll just say a song. If there was a song that got us through a particularly rough point in our lives, right? Because that's the thing that people say. I guess I had one song in particular that was on the radio that I kind of loved the day I got some news. And I was like, oh. So I got one song. But it's like how the memories of the situation and the feelings of that moment can also come, like how the song can bring those back to memory. Excuse me. I guess because this is Ursula, there's also a question of like, okay, like I said, I am aware of Disney, but I'm not super whatever. Because I know she took Ariel's voice. I can't remember if she used it. I don't know if I've actually seen The Little Mermaid the whole way through, or if I've seen enough clips of it to have a vague idea, a very, very vague idea of the movie. Because it's just a question, because I know that she took Ariel's voice. So to me, it's a question of like, whose voice is she singing with, too? But there's something about this being a deceiver that I can't necessarily get past. Next card, Map of Treasure Planet. We have an item that has the same cost as Ursula. Key to the portal. You pay 1 less ink cost for the next location you play this turn. So Pluto brings a character. The map of Treasure Planet brings a location. Show the way. You play one less ink to move your characters to a location. So you pay one less for a location and you pay one less to move characters. So that's 2. You get a savings of 2. So the location has to be this turn. This is kind of almost low-key hilarious because only for the sake that the location orb was like the final card yesterday. Was the card that flipped over. And then like there's the map to Treasure Planet. I mean, they're both orbs and they both got some stuff going on. Gentlemen, this must be kept under lock and key, Captain Amelia. Excuse me. This map to Treasure Planet is giving me constellation. She's giving stars, probably because there was a Pirates of the Caribbean movie on the screen when I was at the gym last. And there was a compass that he had, and there was the child of Will and what's her name? I think his name was Will. And they were looking for the Trident of Poseidon, maybe. Anyway, there was a girl that had a book that was like, the map is a map of stars. It's the constellations. I was kind of reading the text because I couldn't hear it. And I was playing another game where I've talked about the game where there was a monster. Excuse me. There was a monster that was created by the alchemists in that game because they were seeking transformation, but somebody got transformed into a monster. But anyway, in that game, in order where you encounter them, there are different, like the game takes place in a tower, and there are different levels and different cultures in each level of the tower. You have your devotees, your warriors, your bards, your alchemists, and then like the people at top, the fairies, I guess, in a way, kind of. Right? And so when you're going from the bards to the alchemists, they're like only fools try to ascend the tower beyond this point, because there was the idiot bard who had got his, what was the order? What was the saw? It was a saw, like a tool. The saw, the compass, the instrument. It may not be in order because I think it was the saw, the instrument, the fire, the compass, and then the weapon. And each one was associated with a different direction. And to ascend, you had to get a compass because you're in this maze where you're sitting, where like there is no sense of direction. But if you know the tale of the idiot bard, you know each symbol's association with a direction. And if you have a compass, the compass always points true north. The compass functions perfectly fine, but the sense of direction is off. So if you go up thinking that it's north, because, you know, assume it's a box. If you go up off the screen thinking that it's north, you could be wrong because it could actually be east. You have to pull out the compass to see which side of the box north is facing. I don't know how to use necessarily compasses in real life. So honestly, I struggled on the game. I was like, man, if only I knew how to use a compass. But I struggled on the game because I feel like in real life, the compass always points to north. So it doesn't matter if you turn it, like the thing will always point. No, that's not how that works. Or is that how that works? I don't know. I had to align the compass to north in order to find out where to go. And it took me a few minutes to get it together. But that was another game with the compass. That's why I bring it up. Because Jack Sparrow had a compass that he had traded for like a pint or whatever. And it's giving me the stars, charting the stars. And we have Pluto that's going to be all on its lonesome for a hot minute, it seems. Key to the Portal allows you to play the next location at a reduced cost. Show the Way allows characters to move to that location or to move to any location at a reduced cost. Key to the Portal and Show the Way. Oh my gosh, is that what Rune said? Isn't that what she put in her? She had the dream where there was a storm and she was with somebody and she asked them if they should walk towards the storm, and then the spirit popped up and was like, "You are the key to the storm." Like, yes, walk towards the storm. Well, this is a portal and not a storm, but that key to the portal brought that to memory. And then Show the Way. Show the Way feels more like a guide type thing, which I guess that's what maps do. Next, we have an action, 99 puppies. Whenever one of your characters quests this turn, gain 1 lore. 2, 4, 6, and 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Why do we go 2, 2, 3, 2? Where did that 3 come from? This is an action. It costs 5. 5 ink. It has an ink cost of 5. And it's the Dalmatians. Oh my gosh, I kind of love this. So because of this map of Treasure Planet, it's almost like because of the map, whatever this location is, it can be reached or placed in front of the player, regardless of the deception of Ursula. And it doesn't matter whose voice Ursula uses because, like, you know, there's the map. And this is a good map, right? It's not a map that's based on anything terrestrial that is subject to change over the course of years, that the stars, it's like the scale of time is different on Earth than it is in the sky. And maybe that goes back to the question of, like, I wonder what a dog's sense of time is like. Also, maybe it can bring into effect, in part, like divine timing. The timing in heavens is different than the timing on Earth. But I love this because Pluto, he just can't wait for new friends to arrive. And then after the map to Treasure Planet, here are 99 puppies that are like all coming to play with Pluto. And that's just like adorable to me. It costs a lot. It costs a lot. So far, this is the most expensive cost on the table. And I think with this lore value, this is the lore that they generate every turn, right? So characters generate lore too. Yeah, because Pluto and Ursula have lore values of 1. Unless that doesn't cost 1 because that's just an ability. And then these don't generate any lore. So what's the difference between an ink cost and a lore? No. Maybe that, girl, I don't know. Hold on, let's see. Paying the move cost at the start of your turn, gain lore equal to the lore value on the locations you have in play. So only locations generate lore. This is not questing, which only characters can do. So maybe characters can quest to get that lore. And maybe to quest is to exert. Maybe you have to exert a character for it to quest. And when a character is exerted, it seems like it's vulnerable to challenge or to attack by the opponent. But with 99 puppies, you would get an extra lore whenever a character quests. That's our favorite note as we go. Oh, I had a delivery. I ordered a book that I really hope I read. I'm going to read it. So we have the map of Treasure Planet that lets these 99 puppies find Pluto regardless of Ursula's deception. Cool. Love that. Would hate for Pluto to be alone for like all year. The next card is the Magic Broom, the Dancing Duster. This is a Dream-born broom. So we have our first Dream-born character. Power Clean. When you play this character, if you have a sorcerer character in play, you may exert chosen opposing character. They can't ready at the start of their next turn. We only have one sorcerer on the table right now, and it's Ursula. Oh my gosh, this is so expensive. It has an ink cost of 6, but a power and a toughness of 3. Stronger than Ursula, as tough as Ursula. Oh, see, I think this is gonna like clean up Ursula. It's gonna sweep up this deception from Ursula. That's what it's gonna do. Because it's strong enough to. And it's strong, so it's strong enough to, I don't know if this works like Magic or like other card games where like if you attack a card, then they both attack. So because the Magic Broom is tougher, or because the Magic Broom is sturdier than Ursula is tough, the Magic Broom can clean her up and still survive. So yeah, we're clean. I don't know if the arrival of these 99 puppies is going to clear up some of the deception. And that may be the case. It's almost one of those like there's a misunderstanding, right? Where it almost makes, so for example, in my own personal life, I'm old enough that when I was a preteen to an early teen, it was the dial-up days. And it's funny because in my dream, I was in this class that I thought was Spanish, right? And I was sitting right next to this friend. But we were really, really, really good friends. Like in school, we would talk on the phone. And then one summer, I didn't talk to them at all. Like they never called. And I was like, oh, like they hate me. I was like, I don't know what happened, but I guess we're not friends anymore. And I had that belief for literally years. And then there were things that friend had went through that I wasn't there for. Some things that I didn't even necessarily know about. And then by the time we reconnected years later in high school, that was like in middle school. Like our friendship picked right back up. But then I had the realization I was on the computer like all summer. It was the dial-up days. The reason why I didn't get a phone call was because the computer, the internet was taking up the phone line. And because I was so obsessed with the computer, I didn't call my friend either. But it took me so long to like figure that out. That like I was literally the problem. It was me on the computer. That's the reason why I didn't hear from my friend all summer. Because I was on the computer all summer. And it's like, it feels like it's that energy. Like when there's some kind of deception around Pluto where like he's lonely and he's waiting, and maybe in all of his lonesomeness, there are like thoughts that creep into his mind as he's just like waiting and waiting and waiting. And then it's like when the puppies arrive, when the 99 puppies arrive, there's something about their arrival that clears up this deception or clears up this confusion. Which could literally just be an explanation. Like, oh my gosh, sorry it took me so long. Maybe like the parents of these puppies are Pluto's friends. And they're like, yeah, we just had a litter of 99 puppies. That's why we've been MIA for a little bit. We got busy and then we got dizzy. You know what I mean? But it's like there's something about the arrival of these 99 puppies that clears up the confusion. It clears up the deception from Ursula. It's like it's a good reason, which is why I feel like there's been an energy of almost kind of like hold your peace, or just allow what is unknown to be in the unknown, and we don't necessarily have to associate things with it. More so, it's like the title card. It was the Knight of Cups with that Seven of Cups for Capricorn, the Knight of Cups with the title card, with the Star for the general collective, which has been that energy of like, we don't necessarily need to do anything new right now. Just like, wait for things to play out. "99 friends" is a lot of friends, plus the parents. So that's 101. Oh, 101 Dalmatians. Is that, are they a part of the 101? 99 puppies and the mom and the dad? Cool. I wonder if these, I'm looking at the little icons at the bottom. So far, there are 3. Well, Ursula's is gold. The items is like red, and then the other ones are like this white storybook. 99 puppies and the magic broom both have the icon. This one. Oh, I gotta sneeze. I got a tickle in my nose. It's gone. Oh, it's working into my left eyeball. Now it's gone. Oh, it may not be. Oh, it's still there. It's fine. We get a location. It has an ink cost of 3, and there are enough characters that can quest all together to allow us to move to this location. This is interesting. It's interesting that I say that. It's interesting that I mention that. If we go to the Deceiver, Ursula, for help, she can help us because there's a... Hold up. Let me look at the card again. So yeah, it has an ink cost of 3 and a move cost of 3, and it's very tough. There is no character that can destroy this so far in like one hit. This location is Cusco's Palace, home of the Emperor. Home of the Emperor. And the Emperor card has been making several appearances. And the Emperor actually did come out in that same reading where it was the Knight of Cups, the Star, and the title card. The Emperor was down here, and it was the Green Man. So, with the home of the Emperor, maybe Ursula, because again, there's only 3 cards that each have this one Laura icon. And I'm assuming, because I don't know the rules of the game, I'm assuming that when a character quests, they exert themselves to generate that lore, right? It costs 3. There's only 3 on the table between Pluto, Ursula, and the Magic Broom. So here's the like, oh, well, if we want to reach the home of the Emperor, then we have to learn to work with this deceiver of all. And it's interesting, her flavor text says, I don't want much, just the most powerful lore. I feel like it's not too far of a leap to assume that the home of the Emperor would contain the most powerful lore, or at the very least, a very powerful lore. And it's like, oh, well, if we want to go to the home of the Emperor, then we got to learn to work with Ursula, because without Ursula, we're not strong enough. But, because if in the same turn, oops, I just put Motunui on the flow. In the same turn, we can pay 1 less for the next location and play. With the map of Treasure Planet, the broom, the magic broom in Pluto, they can generate enough lore between the 2 of them to reach the palace. With that map, they don't have to rely on the deceiver of all to get where they want to go. And again, like, that's why the broom, it feels like it's also part of this broom that's coming to like clear up any kind of confusion, any kind of doubt, and to sweep out the deception of Ursula. You don't need Ursula to get to Cusco's palace. You don't need Ursula to reach the Emperor. Right? It's like, we don't, it's fine, you get it. So, and not only are they strong enough to get here, it reduces the move cost to anyone who wants to move here. So instead of it costing 3 lore or ink or whatever, it only costs 2 because of that map. The map makes it easier to reach this location, and it makes it easier for characters to get there. Whenever a character is challenged and banished while here, banish the challenging character. What? So do they both get banished? And this location generates a lore, too. So after it's played, it'll generate 1 lore with the map. It costs 1 less lore. So it only costs, in effect, it only costs 1 lore to get here after you've gotten here. And that was the thing about Pluto, too. How Pluto makes it easier for the next character to be played. The anticipation that Pluto has for his friend or his friends makes it easier for them to come. So these 99 puppies, instead of costing 5 and being one of the more expensive cards, it would cost 4, which is still a pretty expensive card. But it's not the most, because the magic broom is 6. Or Pluto could bring the magic broom to clear up the deception from Ursula for the same cost as 99 puppies. Now, I feel like personally, Pluto would prefer the friends over the broom. But it feels like, with the way this is sort of reading, that the friends are the broom. Oh my gosh. I need to, I gotta go blow my nose. I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Yeah, I like did that, and whatever was tickling my nose, like went back and touched the tip of my brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. It made my eye start to almost water and everything. So, yes, it costs less to get here, and the location itself generates lore. I almost feel like this came out for some reason, but I don't think it has necessarily. I wonder if sometimes when I feel like that, like when I feel like I've seen something, but I can't place where exactly it was, I wonder if those energies like hide behind title cards or high priestesses or that ivory shield whenever she's like, nope, do not pass go. You are not ready for what lies beyond here. Go out, live a little bit more life, get a little bit more experience, learn some things, and then come back. Because I don't think I've read this. I don't think I've heard this or watched this, but somehow it feels familiar. But it's just, I guess it's just a part of that general way shower guide type energy. Because that was also the thing. Show the way. Show the way is what makes it easier to move to these locations that have already been discovered and put in play. And Pluto, because this is a map of the stars, Pluto is the only star that we have on the table right now. Ursula isn't a star. Now, could I find a star in the sky that would somehow relate to Ursula? Sure, but maybe not. I should have got some more orange juice. And it's Pluto's anticipation for the new friends. Again, it's Pluto's anticipation of new friends that makes it not only easier for other characters to be played, for new friends to arrive, but it also makes it easier to reach this home of the Emperor. Sure, it's a little small, but it also doesn't have a pool. That's what Cusco said. I feel like that's what he said about the house, because he went to, I feel like that's, I don't know if that's another movie that I haven't actually seen or if I've just seen so many bits and pieces that I can kind of get a gist of it. Because I know he moves out of the palace and into the home of what's his name, and then they become friends after he turns into a llama. And it's also like up in the mountains is where his palace is. We got a location. Now who is this? Miss Bianca. She's a singer. This character counts as cost 4 to sing songs. She costs 2 ink. I love this. She's coming under Ursula. Our society has never failed to answer a call for help, Mr. Chairman. She's as strong as Ursula is. She's not as tough as Ursula. She's not evil. She's not the deceiver of all. She's a Rescue Aid Society agent. Miss Bianca, the singer. Rescue Aid Society. Love it. Our society has never failed to answer a call for help. Again, it's like you don't, and she generates lore. Regardless of what a Ursula may say or do or how an Ursula type energy might make us feel, she is not necessary. She played Ariel. She don't really give people, she gives people what they think they want when she knows that it isn't what they want. You know what I mean? And now there's even more lore on the table for even more people to find this location, to pay this move cost. And I wonder if that's like part of her mission. Where was the call? I already don't remember. Was it the no, it wasn't the song. She's a storyboard hero. She's our first hero on the table. And again, she came out right under the villain of Ursula. Because I put it like 5 across. And I had already put the location below Pluto. So there was a call. It was Way. It was the energy of Way. I literally mentioned it in this video. Maybe it was in the map of Treasure Planet. Our society has never failed to answer a call for help. Now that would be giving me the holographic clarion energy with that call. Well, I guess they arrive to help. They don't necessarily issue the call. Cool. Love Miss Bianca. Love her energy. She's amazing. Next, we have a palace guard, Razol. He's looking like he's from Aladdin. There's no princess here to save you this time, street rat. Oof. Oh, we get a new. He's a ally captain. Looky here. While this character has no damage, he gets +2 strength. So, while this character is undamaged, he's strong enough to defeat Ursula. These allies are allies to the hero, even though he calling somebody a street rat. There's no princess here to save you this time, deceiver. There's no Ariel for you to capitalize off of, Ursula. Your time has come. Type energy, you know what I mean? And King Quest to generate another lore, which can bring someone else to Cusco's palace. I mean, he's literally the palace guard, so I think he would be there. And then, oh no, I didn't even catch that. How did I not say? I was like, because in my mind, it's like, okay, so Razul is at the gates of Cusco's palace because he's the palace guard. And then he coordinates with Miss Bianca to like get people into the palace. But then I look at his flavor text. There's no princess here to save you this time, street rat. And then Miss Bianca is like, a mouse. Is he calling her a street rat? Are they not friends? Does he work for Ursula? No. But she's the hero and he's the ally. Do villains have allies? I need to look that up. I feel like villains don't have allies. They only have people who they use until they're not useful anymore. They have scapegoats. I'm like, sorry, oh, I'm a villain. You know, that's what they do. But they do have the same icon. They're the only two with this icon at the bottom. I mean, it could just put them in the same story. It doesn't necessarily have to make them allies. I feel like she's not the street rat that he's talking about, even though it is kind of beyond ironic that he came out right after her. See, there's something about morale. Maybe it's not morale. I was going to say there's something about morale with this palace guard because when he's damaged, then he deals less damage. But it could also be, instead of it being like damage, it could be him needing to split it's almost like as a palace guard, there are many things, as the captain of the palace guard, especially, there are many things that he has to be aware of. So if it's only one problem, or if there's only one thing happening, he can devote all of his resources to handling that one problem. But if there are multiple problems, and the captain of the palace guard has to split his forces to address those different problems, then that's where the weakening comes. Or that's when it's like it may not necessarily be as powerful because he doesn't have the time, energy, effort, and resources to dedicate to one cause when there are multiple, that need to be addressed. And so it feels like this could take a whole turn. This could low-key take a whole turn. Because I'm looking at the 99 puppies as they're like streaming down the street. And I could see that definitely being a distraction for the palace guard. Like, somebody round up those puppies or corral them. Come on. Single file line, little puppies. Let's not, be all over the place. But if that's the case, then Pluto getting his friends would be a part of Ursula's deception. And then, like, that would be a sorcerer villain that can play. It's almost like playing a long game where you can. It's like for the lottery. For people to keep buying lottery tickets, somebody has to win. It's still not designed to be won. It's not really designed for everybody to be a winner. But in order to keep everyone playing the game, somebody has to win so that it looks winnable, even with the odds as low as they are. Which like completely flips this whole story. Is the magic broom allied with Ursula after all? If you have a sorcerer character in play, you may exert chosen opposing character. They can't ready at the start of their next turn. So what, did the magic broom pretend to sweep up Ursula so that we could get the cost to get to the home of the emperor? And then is Ursula going to try to, like, oh, you brought the palace onto the table. Now I will take it. It was like, ooh, girl. It would be like in the world of Disney, I could see it happening. Where it's just like it's that kind of play where the villain pretends to be defeated, but really it was a part of their plan the whole time. And Pluto's a dog. Pluto's just happy to have friends. And the 99 puppies, I feel like they don't necessarily, like, they could just be like 99 good puppies. They don't have to be 99 nightmare puppies that Pluto thought he wanted to be friends with, and then they're like destroying all of Pluto's favorite toys and eating all of Pluto's treats and his food, and like, they don't have to be little menaces. They could be, they don't have to be. It's like when the villain does something good or allows something good to happen, but it's still a part of their plan, it's still a part of their plot. Distract the guard so they can get to the princess. Or distract the guard so that, I don't know. Oof, the turn, the twist. We have another location, McDuck Manor, which is Scrooge's mansion. Oh, it generates 2 lore. I mean, it's McDuck Manor. It's Scrooge's mansion, so the fact that it generates 2 lore, this is the most lore generating card on the table so far. It's only the coolest home in Lorcana, Webby Vanderduck. It has a ink cost of 4. It's even sturdier than Cusco's Palace. I guess money will do it. And it only costs 1. It has a move cost of 1. So if it has a move cost of 1 and show the way you pay 1 less to move your character to a location, then characters can move here for free. And look how stable that location is. But it doesn't provide any protection to the characters. The location itself is more fortified, but the characters don't get any protection while they're here. In Cusco's palace, whenever a character is challenged and banished while here, banish the challenging character. So yeah, it costs more. But again, it's like with the same map of Treasure Planet, and also with it's because it generates, well, it only generates 1. This one generates 2. It generates more than the cost of moving here. It just feels like it's sold or it's marketed or it's presented in a way that would get characters like, why pay 2? Even without the cost, because again, it generates 1 lore, but the other one generates 2. It's like, why pay more to go to the home of the emperor when you can go to McDuck Manor for free, as long as you have the map? Like, you can move there for free and it's strong. But again, like, it doesn't provide the characters there any kind of protections. That's not what money is about. That's not what like big corporations are necessarily about. They're about protecting their own interests. And there you go, a protected interest. No protection for the characters that live there. No protection for anyone at that location. Just protection for the location itself. And it feels like that's almost the super play for Ursula. Going back to how like it feels like we're still in this game, because it's to get characters to move from Cusco's palace to McDuck Manor. It's like when people think that if they're in the neighborhood of money and affluence, that it will somehow find them. And so it's how like certain situations can change us as people, because we go like, oh, well, it's just the way that the industry is. It's just the way that life works. It's just the way that things go. Like, you keep your head down, you abide by the rules, and eventually your name will be called and you will get your turn in the limelight, you know? Oof. And again, while Razul isn't distracted, he can take care of Ursula. He gets that he's strong enough to take care of Ursula and also tough enough to survive the encounter. When he's distracted, he's strong enough to survive the encounter, but he's not tough enough to take care of Ursula. The next card is Bestow a Gift. It's a 1 ink action. Move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So you can move your damage between your own characters and locations all you want. Right? Or maybe not. Maybe it is an ability thing. It's the ability to move damage counters from one character location to another. But it moves from like your character to a different character. And I love this for Razul. Because if Razul's only been dealt 1 damage, he can move that damage counter to an opposing character. He can like solve that problem and then get like more of his resources back to divert more to a different sort of like cause or whatever. This bestow a gift is under magic broom, and they both have this like purpley color. They're the only ones on the table with this purple sort of banner color so far. And it is one of the more affordable. Actually, this magic broom is the most expensive on the table right now. This is Maleficent. Ain't that Maleficent? What gift did she bring? I don't remember. That's a movie that I didn't watch. Like I said. From Magic Inc., I call this gift, fly my minion, thy wings be swift. Maleficent. See, because this is a gift bestowed by a villain, I'm tempted to assume that Maleficent is working with Ursula, and it's the 1 damage. See, but if Razul doesn't have any damage, he can take out Ursula. If he has 1 damage, he'll deal 1 damage to her, and then she would have 2 left. And then she can use this gift from. So she would deal 2 damage. He would have 1 health left. He would deal 1 damage. She would have 2 health left. So the 1 damage that he dealt to her, if she has this gift from Maleficent, she could finish him off because he would only have 1 health left. And then the 1 damage that he dealt to her would be returned to him. And it would take him off the board. And that just feels like it's this element of like, of a certain carelessness that can't be had. Like I'm watching another show. Well, that show is over, I think. I was watching a show where there was an organization that was like kidnapping children. And for years, they were having problem in the city with children going missing. And like, no matter how smart they were or how prepared they were, somehow the organization was always tipped off to their plans. And it turns out that there were adventurers, there were guards in the watch, there were nobles who were all a part of it. So that's why the organization always knew, because the guards knew, because the adventurers knew. And if no one else knew, that noble person knew. There were 2 noble people, though. One of them was in the organization. The other one was good friends with the one in the organization and couldn't believe that his good friend would be a part of the organization, would almost be the ringleader, if not the primary funder, if not the owner of McDuck Manor. Move to McDuck Manor. It's free. And we generate so much lore here. And there is no protection for you once you reach this location. None absolutely whatsoever. But then they have a chance encounter with a little boy who has a slime that's like a living lie detector that can just, it's so keen to the intentions of others. And they use that slime with the boy as the figurehead, with this other thing as the it's really the slime. But the boy is with the slime. The slime belongs to the boy. But then there's like this adult with this item that has the magic. It's just an ordinary rock because the slime is the one that actually has the magic. That's funny. That was one of the words that I dreamed of. Apparently it means rock in Filipino. Anyway. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is the thing. This is where the magic is. And it's to like throw people off until they know their intentions. Anyway, it's because it was in the guard. I'm like, why did I come all the way over here? How did I get here? Interesting. The next card, oof, we have another location, which would also be free. It's DeVille Manor, Cruella's estate. They say the old place is haunted or bewitched or some such fiddle faddle from the Colonel. It has an ink cost of 1, it has a move cost of 1, it has a toughness of 4, and it generates 1 lore. Oof, not DeVille Manor. Not the home of the villainess herself. DeVille Manor is coming out under Cusco's Palace. I mean, I guess in order. I'm not going to have enough cards to do the whole thing. We have 2 manors, McDuck Manor and DeVille Manor. That's where the puppies come from. They're in the same story. Cruella DeVille is in the same story as the 99 puppies and 101 Dalmatians. Now, Cruella wasn't nice to the puppies, so maybe the puppies are escaping. I assume damage would be moved within one's own, because like McDuck Manor, even Cusco's Palace, let's stay on Cusco's Palace. With Raul the Palace Guard, if you can freely move damage, Cusco's Palace can handle 6 damage counters before it crumbles. So and Raul at the most can hold 3 damage at a time before he's gone. So it's like Raul would be able to move his damage to the palace in order to keep himself focused enough to take out the threat of Ursula. And so it's almost like that would be the play that would be made in secret. After you find out who your allies are in this story, like which of the palace guard are, and like the captain of the guard was not corrupt, but he had people he was like, and everybody, they were like, I've known these people for years and they're working with the organization. Like, what? To kidnap these children and to sell them into slavery? I think that's what they were doing with the kids. But anyway, so it's like the secret play, because of course there was a whole thing to reveal all of the members of the organization, because they didn't know that they had been found out. They just thought they were meeting this little kid that they had an interest in. The little boy with the slime, they had an interest. They didn't know that the boy had the slime, but they was like, oh, that boy is exceptional. We have to kidnap him. So anyway, they just think, we're meeting this little kid, let alone, again, they were being evaluated. Their true intentions, oh my gosh, that's literally her. Light up the night. Their true intentions were revealed in front of that slime. Some were men, some were beasts. And then they came up with the secret play. It feels like the secret play is for, it's like Razul's going to go approach Ursula. There's the 99 puppies that have been freed from DeVille Manor. So this is like the win that the villains allow the puppies to be liberated from the manor, because they know they're going to go to Pluto, and then it's going to be this whole thing, and then there's going to be enough whatever to bring the palace of the emperor into play, right? Because with the puppies and the apparent demise of Ursula, they'll realize that they can bring about the palace without her help, not knowing that it's still a part of her plan, right? So they take this hit, they liberate the puppies, because, again, she only cares about the most powerful lord, and that, the very least, you're going to find a very powerful lord in the emperor's palace, so it's worth it to trick, because again, villains don't have allies. So it's worth it to trick Cruella to free the puppies. And there's this like, oh, and when the palace guard goes to attack me, I have this gift from Maleficent. So, like, you know, brain, come on. Yeah. So everything I just said. So like when he goes to attack me, like, you know, neither one of us are strong enough, especially him while he's distracted, to take down the other. But I have this gift where I can move the damage counter back to him to destroy him. And then there will be no guard to the palace. And she could just go in there and get this powerful relic because the captain of the palace guard would have been taken out. The secret play is that the palace guard plans on moving the damage that she would deal to him to the palace, charge it to the account of the palace, because the palace is strong enough to withstand anything that she's going to do. She can do 2 damage at the most. And so he's got to move the damage to give himself the power that he needs to like vanquish her. But like, that's the secret play. The secret play is that he can move damage to the palace. The secret play is that the palace can take care of itself, mostly, largely. The palace can take whatever hit or whatever this distraction is and still be perfectly fine. But again, Ursula wouldn't necessarily know that. Ursula thinks she's about to get one over, but he's about to get one over on her. And the puppies are still free. That's 2 birds with 1 stone. See, this is like... And then we have Peter Pan, the Neverland hero. Oh, we get another hero. Rush. This character can challenge the turn they're played, and he generates 2 lore. Let's go. Over here, Tink. While you have a character named Tinkerbell in play, this character gets +2 strength. With Peter, plans often meant diving headlong into danger. I feel like Peter Pan, because they both have 2 lore, Peter Pan is going to go after McDuck Manor. And again, it feels like McDuck Manor is this secret villain place. You get people to move away from Cusco's palace, the home of the emperor, to McDuck Manor, where they have no protection at all. And this hero was right under our other hero. It's interesting that all the heroes and villains are in the same line. So the second card was a villain. The 3, 4, 5, 6th card was a hero, and the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th card, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 2nd, the 7th, and the 12th. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All in the same column, villain, hero, hero. Ally, location, location, item, captain, and they're both like this gray color. It's funny how that worked out. These are right on top of each other. The 2 purples are right on top of each other. Cool. What does this mean? It means that things are a lot more elaborate and whatever than we may necessarily think. And I guess just when it all comes out, when it all plays out at the very end, shocking. I feel like a lot of folks would be shook. But, you know, the morals and stuff we apply ourselves. I don't know if I'm going to get more of these, but this was fun, I guess. It's that super play that Ursula thought she was going to come out with. And again, because the Ville Manor was there, it felt like the villain betrayed one of her villain friends, but was relying on the gift. I wonder if Maleficent knew. When she gave Ursula that gift, I wonder if Maleficent knew what the palace guard captain was like capable of. This is like villains playing villains to make the heroes think that they're winning in order for them to like drop their guards or distract the palace guard or split their resources or something like that. And at the end of the day, it's still not going to go the villain's way. So anyway, that was that. I guess whatever that was. I guess that was the energy, a part of the energy yesterday with the Dreadhound. And it's like the Dreadhound is going to be coming for those touched by the Infernals. Or it's just like that's the thing with certain competitive modes. There is no real protection or there is no real allyship. It's only people that you can use. For some folks, you know. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I knew that Disney Lorcana was capable of giving me a story that wasn't necessarily all rainbows and sunshine because, you know, that's not necessarily the story within a Disney movie, even though they have those happily ever afters. But I was kind of hoping. And yeah, maybe I'll be back tomorrow or maybe we'll do Yu-Gi-Oh! I have this pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then maybe I'll do the second pack of Magic cards on the last day, and then that'll be all of the booster packs that I got. So I don't know. I think the one thing that was consistently reliable was the map of Treasure Planet. I think. And it was like a map of the stars. But again, Pluto's going to be all by its lonesome for a hot minute. The moon is going to be the only visitor that Pluto gets for a little bit. So what does that mean? I don't know. I mean, I guess Venus and Mars were just there. That's almost like what happened with Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn conjuncted Pluto in Capricorn and then went into Aquarius. And then Jupiter conjuncted Pluto in Capricorn. And then Saturn retrograded and then they conjuncted in Aquarius. This time, Pluto was at what? 0 degrees? Between 0 and 1 degrees when it conjuncted Mars in Aquarius, and then I'm pretty sure at 1 degree when it conjuncted Venus in Aquarius before Venus and Mars conjuncted in Aquarius. You don't hear that? That plane sounds real low. I live not too far from an airport, so it's not surprising. Anyway. Yeah, I'll catch y'all later. I hope you have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, Jane, when you find. I hope that whenever you need to chill the F out and sit the F down and let the things play out the way that they're going to play out, you can do that. Because apparently it's a whole bunch of shenaniganery to be revealed. And then it's like, wow. But your wins may still be wins. You know what I mean? Because that was, again, Ursula betrayed Cruella by freeing the 99 puppies that she had in her manor, thinking that she was going to take care of the palace guard so she could get into the home of the emperor to get whatever that powerful lore is. And turns out the captain was a little smarter than she thought. But sometimes, again, it's like when things are right in front of us, we can be blinded by our greed or blinded by our ambition or blinded by a whole lot of things where we become consumed and we do all this whatever, or people do all this whatever, blinded by the thing that's right in front of them. And then it's like, at the end of the day, it can be our undoing. And it becomes very like see-through. It becomes very apparent. But to us, it makes me think of that card and the diceology of well-crafted illusion. But it's only well-crafted because we want to believe it. It's like tailor-made to us. But to anybody else, they can see right through it. Like, that doesn't make sense. But if you like it, I love it. If you like it for you, I love it for you. continue. Because maybe you see or know something that we don't know, you know? And it was an illusion. It's what one wanted to believe. Blinded by the greed. Anyway, all right, bye. Probably not. Maybe I'll just pull out the Universe Has Your Back cards and just do a bunch of those and call it a day.